All right. It says I'm live. I hope it is. All right. What's up, YouTube fam? This is Dark Angel's Journey, and this is take 2 of the attempt to go live. All right. Um, Hopefully it actually does work. Let's see. Now, I was attempting to do a vid earlier, and then OBS was being a little mean to me. So, I'm gonna try this once again. Happy Sunday. Check out my little cutie. You probably saw me when I was trying to start this up earlier, but my my lady made me a cool little dragon. Drop down in the comments. What should I name him? Huh? 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 Super adorable. Anyway, so earlier the plan is to uh actually, should I be streaming and recording at the same time? I don't know. Is it working? We'll see. All right, so the plan is to take a quick gander at Bitcoin and see what we're looking at. So let's head over to the 4 hour. All right, so here's what's bothering me, right? So we've been on a little bit of an uptrend since we came out of that super boring state, which was, oh my God, so boring. And I honestly have no idea if this is actually streaming, so let's hope it does, okay? All right. And so we popped up, so we've been on a little bit of an uptrend. So we've got this trend line, prices respecting the 50, but what's bothering me is this, okay? We've made a high here and a higher high here with this weird wick. Swing failure makes me feel like price is not ready to go any higher. This type of behavior obviously says it's coming back down. And we obviously have this juicy little like support resistance area that price has been wicking down from. And the 50 is coiling up, the 200 is coiling up with it. That's still telling me that we might have some. Oh, great. I am streaming. And hopefully it's not buggy. Let me know down in the comments, all right? All right, so this is telling me that price is not necessarily gonna, come back up just yet. It needs to break this area and it needs to do it strongly for me to feel like it's going to be doing anything. So what do we have? Let's zoom out a little bit. All right. When in doubt, zoom out. So we have this big supply area that they could come up to and drop back down, but we have all of this juicy imbalance, right? That's still left to be eaten. So what's left? Let's do this down to about here. So we have all of this imbalance, and then this supply area I do need to adjust because it has the order block, boom, boom. So, if they're going to come back up, they need to come back up and reclaim this entire thing. And that would put us at 22.7. And then if they want to go anywhere after that, it's going to be like 25 of something. All right. But until they do something to pass by this, we haven't really done much. We've come up to eat some of this. But right now, if we're thinking about like say the M pattern, right? Like it came up, came back down, came up, and then maybe we'll come back down, come back to retest this area and drop. That's one potential. But like I said, because they haven't pushed price past here, I think they're probably going to try and hold it until the FOMC meeting on Wednesday. Yeah, so be careful, whatever it is you're doing. So uptrend on the 4 hour potential M pattern. We're coming back down. The 50 is coming to meet it. And let's take a look at the 1 hour really quickly. Right. And yeah, so right now on the 1 hour, the 50 is actually, busted over. And the 200 is a lot closer. And it seems to be wanting to respect this trend line, at least for now. So potentials, we've made a lower high. So what I want to see to confirm that we're coming back up is for price to come back down, test this thing, and bust above and make a higher high, and then come back down to retest this level, and then continue on eating this imbalance that's coming on up here. All right. And then continue on up. If they can't do that, then I'm, potentially favoring lower prices, but we might get up to a point where the 200 and the 50 will squeeze in on each other, and then we'll see some nice potential action. In the meantime, If we go down to the 15-minute, we are still on an uptrend. Let's see what price action we've got to play with down here. And actually, my apologies, let's roll back up to the 1 hour. And let's get rid of all of the predictive stuff for the moment. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Given that we're in this area right here, let me take the auto off. Then I'm going to say I don't care about this for the moment. Let's focus on where price is, right? And let's focus on the areas where price, could go, and for shorter term plays until they kind of make up their minds about what they want to do. All right, so what do we have? We have this nice juicy break here, and that gave us, I guess we could potentially, fight over whether or not we think the break is here, but I mean, price would sort of stabilize and hang out here and then boom, go back up. So what does that say? That says that this is a potential demand area, and it has the imbalance, but it's further up this way. I don't know. Given that it's respecting this, we have to really get some really bad news. Like, I don't know. Jerome Powell says that, they're gonna price in one, full basis point instead of 75, which I think they've already priced in the 75. So that would be kind of neutral, and then you can just sort of trade normally. So here's a break here, but given that it's respecting this thing, it needs to break through it with some gusto, with some gusto. And then I'm feeling like, we'll be fine to take shorts from here. But we're still in a little bit of an uptrend. So we made a higher high, a higher low here. Technically, this is still a higher low because it's above this guy, right? So I don't trust this. We made a little bit of a lower high, but it's not that far away from this thing. So, still don't trust it. The fact that the 50 has crossed over though, and it is respecting it. I want to see what happens once the 50 hits this line, and if we're going to break below it. And then price might come back up because there's a lot of juiciness up here to be enjoyed. And it's not far away. So let's see. What can we do? What are we seeing on the 15? On the 15, the 200's already crossed over, and the 50 is definitely saying hell no. We're seeing what looks like a fake breakout of this area, and we're coming back into it. So we're making lower highs on the 15. If it wants to continue down, this is a nice break. Oops. This is a failed order block right here. It's a breaker block. So there's that. And then we also have, whoopsie, this green candle, which makes our supply area. One day I'm not going to need to draw all these things, right? So we have a breaker block here. And this failed order block makes the area pretty strong on the 15. And it looks like price is coming back up to touch it. So what has it been doing so far, right? So the usual structure is this, price doesn't go up and down in a straight line. That's what I'm learning, right? So if it's going to go down, it's going to retrace, it's going to continue down, it's going to retrace, it's going to continue down, right? Like that's the structure I'm thinking in my head, right? If it's going to be doing anything. And it's sort of what we've been seeing, right? Like we came down, we retraced back up to the 50. And the 200, we came down, didn't go very far, but retraced back up to the 50. We came down, retraced back up to the 50, and now we've come back down to test this guy, and we're retracing back up to the 50. Now, we're too close to this for me to be comfortable taking anything, so I'm going to wait and see what price does. But in terms of juicy potentials, I am seeing these swing failures, this big swing failure here, and so far price has been respecting price action. Like you saw this nice juicy break here, nice red candles coming down, and we saw price come right back up to eat that puppy. So what could you have done? Waited for price to come back up, drop down into a lower time frame for a good entry, put your stop loss above this guy, or well, yeah, definitely that guy, and then ridden it down back to an area where price has stopped before. So right about there would have been good. Yep. Or you could have just ridden it back down to this area right here. Also good. Also an area where price likes to stop. So take profit would have been good. That would have been 1 to 2. And then let's see, is price repeating that action again? Yeah, look at it. Isn't that funny? Rinse and repeat. Who said it? Like, there's one guy I watched that, price is all about fractals, right? I think it was Meet Kaplan. I like that guy. And he's same thing. What do we have? Nice juicy break right here. Nice strong red candles, strong break below. What did price do? Price came back up to this area with this imbalance. And this would have been, again, a good place for you to say somewhere in the middle of that, put your thing above, a little above there, and then rode it back down to the next area and get a 1 to 2. And just keep repeating that, right? So that's what's happening there. But look, we've got equal highs here, right? So it hasn't really, it's staying steady in this area. And it tried to break down and made a lower low. So it's just not, I definitely needed to come back down and give me some sort of proper thing. So I'm going to stay away from that for the time being. Let's see what ETH's doing. So ETH is looking a lot better than BTC for me. And if I scroll out a little bit here, I had taken a quick gander at what's happening this juicy break up here. Beautiful supply area. There are two actually. And we're kind of hanging out. They've eaten this imbalance and stuff, so let's get rid of that just to clean things up a little bit. And let's clear that out. And there's this nice SR area at the break that price has bounced off of. There is this imbalance up here that price has started to come into. And there's this nice order block up here. And the one thing I've learned, or what I'm learning, I should say, is that just, having the order block and this beautiful dragon fruit area for them to come up into and rip it back down, potentially. But the fact that it's also a nice SR area as well. So price came up here, came back down. Came up here, came back down. Down, down, right? And these things happen all over the place. So it's so crazy. But anyway, let's zoom in, right? And then I have this area of support where it's just kind of been hanging out. And I think I only put this in here just to kind of remind myself that, if price is going to drop from here, this could be a great area to take your profits, right? And look, it did that. Sadly, I've not been able to be online or available for a while, but well, for the last couple of days because my mom's been sick, but and I've had to be doing stuff with her. Let me put my foot up. Oh, my knees. So look at this price action for ETH. This is looking a lot more bullish for me, or at least it was until we saw this lower high right here. We're still seeing a similar swing failure up here. We're in the supply area and they ate some of this imbalance. And they're respecting that. They've made a lower high, higher low. They've actually dropped down to retest this area where I thought, this support area where they've been hanging out. So what are they going to do? Are we going to see them actually respecting it and then shoot back up? Let's see. What do we have in terms of like price action potentials, right? So we're going to look for the areas where we find the juiciest breaks. And I don't think I have the fractals on for this, do I? No, I do not. Let's add one of my favorites right now because I'm lazy. Don't judge me. All right. So we have green candles, break right here. It's not a bad one. This one's a nice juicy one as well. So we have a couple of supply areas. They're kind of far away for now. I guess it's not that far, 1591. So if I were to, this one's not bad. That's juicy. That's the supply area with an imbalance right on top of it. So that's a beautiful dragon fruit. So nice area for them to come back into on the 1 hour. And then they have another one here. Now, just because that's also just as juicy. right? It's a demand area. Sorry guys. Demand area. It's the bottom, supplies at the top. So two juicy demand areas, nice juicy breaks off of them. We have an area here where they like to hang out. So what I'm expecting, they've broken out of this upward trending line, right? They've been respecting so far. They've broken out of it. So what am I thinking? I'm thinking come back down. If they're really serious about it, and since the 50's up here on the 1 hour, they come on retest this, and then they'll break down to come down into this demand area, and then maybe, pop back up, right? If they do that, um, then I'm expecting them to come here, retest that, something like that, and then come back in to go further. I don't know, something like that. Right now they're respecting this thing, so the 200's coiling up, the 50's turning around. So the other option is they don't care diddly squat about this demand area, and they bust down. They respect this 50, bust down into this area, take this imbalance, come back up to retest this support area, which would have become resistance, and then come back down to eat this juicy thing. So what I'm looking for a nice break, retest, and then a nice entry for a short back down. But this is all dependent on what price does. They're at a key area here. So if they're going to continue up, and the trend is up, and this if this is a false break, like I said, they have to come back, they have to retest this and pop back up and then go. All right, guys, so let's bust into some actual testing stuff, which is the meat and potatoes. I'm gonna do ADA because I don't really do ADA. I'm gonna close my eyes, I'm gonna hit the replay button, I'm gonna close my eyes and do a little Stevie Wonder thing and go side to side and be like that. I might even start singing and then bam. All right, where did we land? Ooh, October 5th. Okay, not too far. All right. Now, I don't trade ADA. I have no clue. I like to pick something because all we care about right now is price action. What is the price telling us? Because even with news plays and the macro, if price is telling you something, follow the price because price is king. All right, so let's do our little. So I'm gonna use the 4, 1 hour, and 15. 4 for overall trend, 1 hour to kind of pick out my little areas of potentials, and then 50 minutes for entries, right? So we are on an obvious downtrend on the 4 hours. So let's mark that out. And 200 is above, and that still tells me downtrend. We're making lower highs, lower high, lower highs. And what else we got in here? Anything juicy? So lower low, lower low, lower high. This one's pretty close, so let's see. Do you have anything? When in doubt, look to the left, right? Look to the left. So just to be clear, so I know that there is an area here where price has dropped, let's drop that as a level, and let's just, oh, look. So it came back to touch it twice. Boom, boom. So it looks like the lowest it's ever been. Huh. Interesting. All right, cool. So then what I'm going to do is I want to figure out where my supply and resistance areas are, so I can use those as my trading areas. So there's obviously a level right about here. Usually somewhere around the breaks, these things tend to form, and we're on a downtrend, so looks like something like that, approximately. Let me adjust that over. These things happen around these breaks, these juicy break areas, so we've got some rejections here, rejections here, rejections here, some nice hanging out, a rejection here. And if we really want to be checking it, we can. And you know what, guys? As this thing is live streaming, I can't see the comments, so I can't answer. But we can scroll back to see how price has behaved around this level. So got a lot of confirmations in that space. And now that we also have this lower level here, which seems like an area where price has kind of stopped So let's do our SR area right here. And since price has been bouncing off of that one, I like this as my support. Yeah, support color, right? Red, green, bluish green. I don't know. Maybe I'm colorblind. Don't judge me. All right, so here's an area. So let's see what else we got. So let's head down to the 1 hour and let's do the auto. And now we can see some more stuff. Okay. All right, so do we have any juicy breakup structures? So here's a break here. It's not the best. Price has already come back. This is a failed order block. Here's a nicer break. Juicy. All right, potential. Let's mark our areas out. And we've just come to retest this thing. It looks like the 50s crossed over, the 200s just crossing over. So here's a potential demand area. And I am under no illusions that just because, prices coming down on the 1 hour, we've just made a higher low and a high. So, survey says, I don't know who the survey's with, but don't judge me. We've broken above this lower high to make this high. Usually you want to come back down to the vicinity to retest it and then continue on, right? To the next area. I can't, you know what? I'm always zoomed in too far. And then retest that high and then so on and so forth. And just keep on trucking, right? And technically, if we're breaking out into this thing, then we want to definitely come back and retest this area and go back up. So we might block in just a little more like that, something like that. All right, so let's see if it does that because there's not much for me to do where we've hit an area. If I'm gonna be a little crazy, I would say, if you're a trend line trader, you could come up here, wait for something like a bullish engulfing from the trend line, like we saw here, enter, and then go down to the next area where we saw price consolidating, right? And look, that worked out really well, right? If you'd done it, bullish engulfing from the trend line, take that, put it above it, come down to somewhere in the middle of that, and that's a 1 to 7, 8. I don't know if I feel juicy about that. 1 to 2 at minimum. Where would that have dropped me? 2, exactly. Almost. Oh, right at the bottom. So, we've obviously missed that move, so let's see what else we can find. Let's let that play out. All right, so we're into this demand area. If this is a nice dragon fruit, what else do we have in this area that makes it a strong space? Nice supply zone. The imbalance. They've eaten that. So what you want to do, if this is going to actually continue upwards, we need to go into the lower time frames and drop in 15 and then find another juicy break in the opposite direction to ride up. But you got to see, since I'm kind of using these moving averages, by the way, I don't know if I mentioned the 200s is the white one and the 50s is the yellow, right? So, and then we can get a closer look at this juicy break we're under, right? So on the 15, it's even smaller. They've come right back up into that space to eat that juicy thing. And there's a breaker block here as well. All right, so what we're looking for is this, right? And let's get rid of all of our other suppositions, right? So now we need it to break above this thing here, make a nice juicy break, come back down, and that's where we'll try and enter, and then we can write it up. So if we do something like that, then we could do something like this, and actually it would be a little higher up if we're being juicy. A 1 to 2 to this area where it last, hung out. And that'd be like a 1 to 2.6. Actually, I prefer it to be below here. Like that. Something like that is what we're looking for. So let's see what price does. Oh, okay. See, that's why we check to see if what we're thinking is actually going to work out. So broke down, and this is telling me, it's below the 50, so maybe we're going lower. The higher trend was what? Down, right? So we should be looking for shorts. And I always do this. I always mess that up. So I should have also checked out the options. So here was another juicy break, red, red, red. If they come back up here, that would be a nice entry into a short, but they didn't. So on the 15, we're making lower lows. And here's another juicy break. They came back up into this one instead and then dropped down. Okay, now this is another juicy break. So if they're going to do what they do for the fractals, right? They'll come back up and our entry should be, since the imbalance is here, I'm going to put it here and then right above the 50, something like that. And then where do I want to go? I want to go where price last hung out. So about here. Okay, let's see if that plays out. All right. And, price can do whatever it wants, right? You're coming back up? Nope. Nope. Okay. Coiling. Okay, so we are in it to win it. Came back in. And I am stopped out already. Dang it. That's okay. Let's see. Oh, okay. So maybe my first supposition was right. Let's see. See, keep flip-flopping. That's not good. We've just found some support. And I said, like, come back up, retest that. But it dropped lower and then just rolled right back up. So that wasn't right. Just gotta follow what price does, right? So it looks like let's see what this looks like on the 1 hour. Okay. Let's go right down to the 15. So there is this juicy area here, imbalance. They just ate it. So a potential for an entry for a short. They seem to be wanting to continue on down. We made this lower low. This trend is done. Something I didn't peep before. But let's see. They've came up here. Let's see. All right. They wicked out. Huh. Okay. They ate this imbalance. We're below the 200 again on this. So let's try for that again. Okay. And we're below. And let's go above that. And let's try for the next area where they hung out. I want a 1 to 2. Like that. Actually, there's an imbalance down here. We could use that as our target. Okay. So we've made a lower high, lower high. Let's just let that play. Ah. So I'm all kinds of wrong. Look at that. Totally wrong. Okay. So we're over it, right? But let's go back to the 4 hour. We're breaking out of this thing. Okay. Actually, it's not really much of a break, is it? Still in that SR flip area. And still swing failure, so I'm still looking for a short. Still looking for a short. Okay. Now, if this is going to be a real break, it's going to pop out, come back in here, and then get above that. We just found some support at the 50. Let's go into 1 hour. Oh my God. Look at that. This is why I don't like looking at the 15-minute, right? I should wait for something to show up on the 1 hour and then, because then if I'd seen both of them on the 1 hour, which is a stronger trend, I would have said, not trend, but a stronger potential, I would have said, okay. But still not enough for an entry. On the 15 it was, but not, obviously you saw how well that worked out. All right. So now we're breaking out of this puppy. So this is the candle that broke out. So if this is the candle that broke, if it's going to continue upwards, then we'll do something like this, come back into this area, and then continue that way. Otherwise, it's just going to do this, and then come back, break into this area, and then continue down. But the trend has changed high or low. we make a higher high, we still haven't broken this high here, so I don't trust it yet. So let's just let price stay on the 4-hour. So here we're coming back down to test it. Okay, so now we've got a bearish engulfing, breaking back into the trend on the 4-hour. Let's see what the 1-hour is looking like. Oh, am I in the 1-hour? Okay, I am. Ignore me. Haha. So looks like we're trying to. So this sort of invalidates this break for me right here. So I'm still looking for a short. Okay. And now we're still made a higher low, but no higher high. Right? So how about this? Let's see if we break below the 50 properly. So this candle, we've broken back down into it. And the 200, the two things are squeezing it. Can't do anything. I needed to break below the 200 too. With some gusto, because we're still in this demand area. This worked out well, though, for that long. Boom. Just didn't work it very well. All right, so now we've come back up to retest this thing. And still higher low, higher low, higher low. So we should technically be going up, right? Technically, but there's no higher high. It's like weak. So this one is invalidated, so that it broke back down, so false break. We're testing this. So if we're going to take a short, I'm looking for like a bearish engulfing or something, you know? We're wicking out into this area. I'll delete that SR area. And you know what? I always be forgetting what these things are for. So let's move this over so we can see it better. We're wicking in both directions. Now, well, still no. There's this break here for potential to go higher, but it's busting through it. It's a nice green candle though. And when these moving averages are coming together like this, I'm waiting for it to break in one direction or another. This doesn't feel like it wants to. Let me see. This is a demand area right here. So it needs to break above, break through this. So let's see. All right. So we wick down. Buyers, sellers are like, yeah. Buyers are like, no. Okay. So that's one potential. And we're below the 200 now. Oh, doji. Interesting. Things might change. Might be going down. So now, okay. So now I'm in. Now I'm like, evening star. Now I'm in. So I'm going to do this. Above that. I'm going to do 1 to 2. See if this one works out. Like that. All right. And let's press play. Come on. That higher lows thing is bothering me. Oh, yes. Go, 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 go. It's it's making there it is. All right, so that finally made a proper thing. So we've lost twice, so we've sort of broken even now, right? Okay, so we got one. So let's see. Can we ride? And honestly, we should have gone down to the 15-minute, but we got it on the 1 hour. All right, so seem to be respecting this trend line. Now we're down to this level here, and we just busted down the 50 respect. So if you're coming back here, get another nice bullish engulfing, and ooh, it's a nice break here too for a nice supply area here. And it seems to like to wick up a little bit. Do that. And let's see what the next couple candles are. As we got this imbalance, the 50's up here, so we could potentially see an entry for a short. I'm hoping for like right below here. Plop this right above that, and then do another 1 to 2, something like that. What's down here? Oh, it's like, ooh, it's free for all. Free for all. Well, I'm not trusting anything, and I'm just gonna take my 1 to 2 at this wick where it last dropped. Okay, but first things first, let's see. Do that, because it doesn't have to go back up. All right. All right, we'll come back up to test the 50. If I see a bullish, bearish engulfing at this trend line, then I'll take the short. Also, the question is how long? You know, lower high, lower low. Okay, so still looking kind of juicy. All right. So seeing some consolidate. The 50, still lower high. Okay. Not in yet because still watching. I need something juicy. Okay. So it's come up to the area for entry. Let's go to the 15 and see what that looks like. Ooh. All right. Uh, so we're looking for an entry for this one up here. We had this juicy break here and prices coming in for that. We've got this bearish engulfing right here. It's a potential. I'm going to wait. We're making higher lows, higher lows. Might wait for it to come back up into this zone because I feel like it's going to do it. So let's do that. Weak. Okay, now that's a nice potential. It's breaking below the 200 again. And we'll wait for it to bust below the 50 as well. And they're coming in hot together. Still not in it. Still not ready. Nope, nope. Okay, not quite. So, consolidation. Okay. Just busted below the 50. And it looks like this supply area is where they wanted to hang out. So we're just waiting for a nice break on the 15 to commiserate with that. This is one they came back into it, so I'm gonna say okay. And I'm gonna put this above here. And let's try for that. Okay, let's go a little bit above it, above that imbalance. They could come back and eat it. And if I'm being honest, this imbalance down here might be a bit much, so let's go for that 1 for 2 right here. It's wick down, and let's see how that plays out. Okay. All right. Not a bad thing. Are we going to continue? Coming back up. All right. The 250 are coming together. That doesn't look very good. Now, if I was being smart, I should have taken it where price last consolidated, right? And set my stop loss lower. That would have still got me the 1 to 2, and then we would have been in and out like a flash with that first candle. And we wouldn't have been stopped out at all. Figuring out how to do these little things like take your profits, find where you're going. This turnaround with the 50, yeah, doesn't make me feel good. So I would have gotten out probably around here anyway. Anyway, let's go back to the 1 hour and see what that looks like. Yeah. So still a higher little coiling, so it might be going up. All right, so another thing we could have done, right? So this candle broke out, right? So we were waiting for this candle, which is this whole thing. And there's a nice break here. And that's not the best, but still a break. There's this one here, better. And this imbalance. So on the 1 hour, we're still going down, but we just made our first higher low with that guy. So let's let that Oh my God. Do you see? Let's go back to the 15-minute. Did that just bust into? Yeah, it busted back down. Let's go to the 1 hour again. I like watching the 1 hour. I think I might like prefer trading the 1 hour actually. So, survey says that if this is going to be a real breakout of this thing, from the candle that broke it out, which is this one right here, and let's come back down to retest this candle and then come back up. So if we're going higher, I'm going to wait till about somewhere around here and then see about an entry. All right. There's also the supply zone we need to be aware of as well. So let's see. We got that serious candle still in the area. Now that shows some momentum, but we're in the supply area. We just came and ate this. So if we break out of this puppy, then and bust past the 200, then I'm cooking with Crisco, y'all. So the 200 said nope, slapped it down, ate that imbalance. But this does feel like a more valid break. So what's the potential entry now? So we have this juicy supply area right here and this imbalance. So technically for a long, I would be looking somewhere about here and drop it below this guy. And let's find our 1 to 2. And let's look to our left, another area where price has, meandered about. So we could actually, aim for this SR area. That would give us 1 to 3. All right, let's let this be the last one, then I can go watch some anime. Let's press play on the 1 hour, and we are stopped out hardcore. Snap. That's why you go into the lower time frames to confirm your entries, right? And did we get? We didn't get any confirmation. I think I'm just getting tired now. Anyway, so that one failed miserably, which is okay. And if we go to the 1 hour, now we have this juicy break right here to look forward to for a short. So let's just look that out. And a nice supply area, beautiful imbalance. If I'd been paying attention to the 50, I would have entered here, but I stopped looking at it, so boo to me. All right. We've broken back down. Looking for a long in a downtrend? Bad idea. Remember that. Look for the shorts. So, there's this area here. We're consolidating. See if we find another opportunity. We're coiling down to this thing. So there might be, if this breaks strongly, we might be able to take a nice entry from the here. But let's see what it does. It's just going to keep going. Wicking. All the way down to this area. Look at that. Busted right through. Beautiful. Now, what could we have done better? Let's see. So this guy, I'm sure he'll come back to it eventually. I didn't go down to the 15-minute to check my entry. So that's a problem, right? And I said I wanted it to break past this area and it didn't. So I guess don't trade tired, right? And then on the 15 minutes, did this happen on the 1 hour too? Yeah. So once the 200 was above us, once it broke below the 50, we could have entered in for a short. And then, picked our target down here. Because we've already passed this guy, we used that up already. So the only place is this next area. And it just kept going. And then on the 15-minute from an entry perspective, what could we have used, right? Failed order block. Beautiful. This guy, imbalance. We could have technically entered for something right after it broke below the 200 for a short, if we're just using the moving averages, like keep it simple, right? So we could have entered here, set our stop loss like right above there, and then did our 1 to 2, and that would have played out quickly. Actually, 1 to 2 would be about here. Sometimes I get hung up with, the trend line and it breaking it. I'm like, it's been busting back and forth. Like, why do I care? Where can it go? And I think, I like the whole moving averages thing, but it's not always going to work out with the moving averages, right? Sometimes you have to sort out where you think price is going to go and work with it. So what have we learned? We've basically learned that um, what we specified in the higher time frames for a trend is what we need to be working with, right? So we saw that I got stopped out every time I tried to go against the trend. So don't do that, right? So if the 4 is saying downtrend, then I have to wait until the 1 hour is also saying downtrend and then enter for a short on the 15 minutes. That's what I should have been doing. Anyway, so I don't know. Is there seeing that I'm streaming from OB? I don't know if there's any way for me to check the comments, but that's the lesson that we just learned here, right? The trend is your friend. I know everybody keeps saying that, but it's true. The trend is your friend. Anyway, so let's take a quick gander at Ethereum lastly and see what we're doing. Looks like we're still meandering along, respecting this level. And honestly, if we're gonna be honest, this is another SR flip area, guys, obviously. But I just decided to just use a line. It's still respecting it. So if I see something juicy from this level, like a nice strong green candle like we saw here, then and let's be honest, let's bust back up to the 4 on Ethereum. We are in an uptrend for now. We just busted out of this uptrend, this channel, but we are in an uptrend. So let me delete my predictive things here. The 200 is below it, the 50 is below it, and this is the 20, right? I don't know if I need that, and then so we're in an uptrend on the 4 hour. We're still in an uptrend on the 1 hour. So in my mind, and we're at a nice support area. If I'm gonna be even more like annoying, I can do this and plot out or SR area right here. I'm gonna turn that red because this is let's call it like the support, the demand support areas. Let's make it red. But so we're here. So what I'm looking for on the 1 hour, I'm thinking the 50's turning around because it's consolidating this area. Let me go back to the 4 hour for a second because sometimes I have to like set myself up in my head. So we've made a higher low here. We need to make another higher low. And we'll make a higher low once we break above this thing. Or it could be, make a higher high above this thing, and then we're going to continue up. But from here, potential setups for me, and this might happen tonight, sometime late, which is going to really irritate me. I'm going to wait for, and there's a juicy break right here, this demand area imbalance. So what I would wait for is for this downward liquidity to be hunted, right? And then look for an entry to take it back up. And then I would be thinking potentially right about here for an entry, plop below this guy, and then ride it back up for a 2 to these areas, to this SR area where they've wicked it like bump, 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 something like that. And I'm trying to remember they can bust through these trend lines, but first I need to see some sort of confirmation for that. So that means I'm looking for like a bullish engulfing candle, for it to bust on into this area and make another nice break for a potential entry on the lower time frames. That's what I'm waiting for that. So I'm gonna just wait The 50 is curving down, 200 is coming to meet it. So, you know, if price busts above the 50 again, makes a nice juicy candle, then I'll take that. Let's take a quick look at what Bitcoin's doing. Ooh, it's breaking. Nah, it's a 15 minutes. Let me go back to the 4 hour so I know what the heck I'm looking at. Still in an uptrend. Um, yeah, still just kind of hanging out. Looks like it's trying to do a little breaky. Let's go into 1 hour. Still in an uptrend. The 50 is coming. The 200 might hold it up. Because the last time it busted close to 200 and bounced back up again. Anyway, in my mind, we've got a higher low and still a higher low. I don't care what it says. Still a higher low. So, you know, my thoughts are for me to feel like it's going anywhere lower, I need it to bust below the 200 and give me like a bearish engulfing, and I'll take a short from there. But right now the trend is up, so I'm looking for an up for a long. So maybe I'm looking for something like for it to test 200, and then similar situation. Let's say it tests 200 here. Comes down, eats some of this imbalance. It's already eaten some of this downward liquidity, so there's liquidity to be eaten up here. So, something like come down to test 200 and that, and then I'll come back up to this last SF area. What's that? 1 to 3? Because they've wicked it, twice. Maybe even be a little bit more conservative and hit that. That's still 3.2 approximately. But that's all about what price is going to do. All right, so we're breaking down. There's a nice imbalance down here to be played with, so we'll see. Juicy breakdown here. Juicy. Let me just mark out this lovely demand area. The imbalance is above it though, so that's why if it's going to break below, I think it might wick it, eat it, and then continue up. So that's why I'm expecting something like that. But so far, it's like a smaller play because prices doesn't look like it wants to break above right now. All right, guys, I think that's good for now. It's 8:30 Eastern time on a Sunday. I need to watch some Rings of Power and figure out what dinner is going to look like. So you enjoy the rest of your evenings. Take another beautiful look at my dragon. Something's in my eye. Look at my cute dragon. Drop a comment down below. What should I name him? Or her? Or they or them? Whatever. Beautiful. All right, guys. You enjoy the evening. You'll see me back tomorrow. My eyes are doing a little juicing. But happy Sunday. Shakira out.